The time that Joseph lived in Egypt, I don't know if, you can, long enough for you could say that he's from there. This is not going to be one of those trying to discern if he's olive tone or black or like a Turkmen, like would make him like white or something. Or I'm not trying to say like because Palestine looks like this, then they had to look like this. Like, I wouldn't get very far. Is what I want to. Excuse me, hold on a second. To try to just explain how Peter, right? Peter went to Ethiopia, like I started church, right? Ptah, how did he get the name Peter, right? It's like, well, he lived closer to Africa than we do, so it's possible. It makes sense. Not possible, but it's not that it's possible. It makes more sense that something could happen at a later point in time than where the idea originated from, and like the Messiah has been prophesied before he ever arrived in so many different ways. In Egypt, the Grail stone is a pineal gland, which is a pine cone, which is all over the Vatican, right? Ptah Neter Unra, the rock applied to Ptah Neter Unra, is talking about the Grail stone, which later became like pre-comic book, early Christian comic books. Like they had the Grail stone mythos, which became the Grail cup Grail, right? Holy Grail, a chalice, which is more in line with some Ptolemaic ritual Macedonian stuff, which makes more sense. That and it would get by us that ever. Okay, so look, it's not unlikely that you would apply the same definitions, considering that Joseph is Jesus' father and he's from Egypt, than when he said to Peter, "You're the rock." It's not stealing something from another religion. And it's not how it's like interest to go back and like scrub historical records to try to expel like entropy, or when you're trying to set up a caste system similar to in India, and you see examples of agorism displayed in like Buddhist bas-reliefs or something, monolithic sites in Indonesia and like different places, Hindu stuff, like the Muslims blow that shit the fuck up, because it's like they were the ones that were in cahoots with the Masons. So Masons went to their foot in the slave trade, and they needed an astral plane religion they needed a religion which they used to contrive the astral plane. And in their hands, it's a silly satanic religion, but if back where it came from, it was botanical, like a filing system, like a way to document and pass down, like a conveyance, right? Knowledge or information about plants and materials and for the purpose of autonomy. Is similar to the liberal arts, which is where you get the Kabbalah and the clip off and all that stuff. They don't want to explain to us because they're afraid they're going to fuck us up even worse if they explain it to us without the right thoroughness or the proper take, or some accuracy or something. They're going to mess you up, and they don't want that, so they kept it to themselves. And a bunch of books underneath the Vatican that they say are being hidden from everybody is because that shit is bad. We have a bunch of bad shit that thinking about it, it's like it's bad shit. Like it's shit, amazing, not boring. And of course, that's why you have to be very careful when you touch the pages and everything. They can't leave. Excuse me a second. Shouldn't smoke because you drain, like early in the morning, you're just like draining and shit. It's not early, but so as far as like Christians saying that Egyptian religion is evil, pagan evil, it is, but evil has no ontology, right? And also since we turn what was a conveyance for another culture's their own system of mysteries, which goes into like how they educate, and if we apply it to something, it is like trying to bend someone's will, which is like a different ontology for evil. And since we're ignorant, then we think evil means ignorance, or we think evil means wickedness. Wickedness is a thing, right? Treachery. Why do you need evil? Evil just means early, to go before, predecessor, primeval, primordial man, right? And then there's that metal song, "Am I evil? Yes, I am," right? And it's just like, this is a different ontology, and it's like, you can't really expect everybody to know what the hell you're talking about at some point. They're gonna be like offended, like, what did you say? Like, I can't get down with that. Like, I know, you know what I mean? But you're using it, you're not colloquializing it. So we take a concept a word that we used to conceptualize, then colloquialize it, and then sorcerers can use it to spike cortisol. Like scammers, like you try to gatekeep something, then they can tell you a secret how to live your life, like the manosphere thing, shit. Religious countries like governments have a mandated religion that they incorporate with the body politic, and it's they have to get people behind it, like more so than. How can it really be a separation of church and state? It's not really that. It's like it's making sure that a mosque has to be the previous site of a temple, which was the previous site of a chapel, like the buildings has to be the same building previously, right? Or you have to get converted, so it's like temple, mosque, and cathedral. This is all mausoleum builder. The mausoleum is like the union of like Mason, right? They're not Muslim, they're Muslims. Templars, right? We already know this, but there's something that happened, like when we deal with fractions of other cultures' mystery systems to try to make sense, and we end up getting words like dioxides, and dioxides come from the mares of Diomedes, and they tore apart or broke apart Mount Olympus when Mount Olympus it was Earth and Mars combined. And there's different renditions of that story. There's like so many different renditions of that. There's so many different renditions of the Holy Grail cup stone. You know, there's character. They follow the lives of characters that we don't even know, all the way to the Silk Road, and mythologize an actual historical character that was the Muslim, not the Muslim, the Muslim who allowed Jesus to be enshrined on his land, where he later rolled a stone on the third day and walked free. Also, Galahad of Percival, after his success on the hunt for the Grail stone, was rewarded by being allowed to live on the land of Joseph of Arimathea until he died, and witness the miracles that Joseph of Arimathea knew how to do. And this is like Pulp Fiction, pre-comic book, before DC and Marvel. And characters like Ra's al Ghul becomes Bane or something. I'm not the first one to talk about this, but it seemed crazy, you know. Like, it seemed crazy that I would be talking about that. It's a focus. It's a focus now. It's like, why do you make that so important? Because you want to wonder what they mean, or maybe when they say that those religions are evil, they don't mean their predecessor early, you know, before the Messianic era, or that they're describing behavioralism and alchemy, like the gods are displaying characters that of like, you know, breaking apart peptide bonds and fucking carbon dioxide. Carbon is 666. Now they got the mares of Diomedes, who come from Tiamat, and Tiamat is the rock belt around Mars. That the fucking same people who are, if you want to get your facts and everything like that, that's where you go. The science people. They're the ones that tell you this shit. And otherwise, it wouldn't have applied that to the word dioxide. Like, we wouldn't have applied, what's the other one that I was in the last video I was talking about? A peptide, a peptide bond, and then like there's like this kind of cell death called apoptosis. So my facts comes from white people in lab coats talking about shit back in Africa that you could say is primeval or primordial, and you get to take the term evil and colloquialize it to mean wicked, ignorant. Well, don't turn their system of mystery that's supposed to be applied to education and entertainment into religion, because that is subversive. That would be like a campaign of marketing and overwhelming the cerebral senses of symbolism with, so I can't even read symbology anymore, you know? It's like a wash and shit. And then they could just use contrived astral plane references to the fucking Fibonacci 357 and the golden rule to speak subconsciously and tell me, you know, to do things, you know, stuff, you know. I need you over here, you know, I mean, holding the door of this movie theater while like the shooter's running around, or something is on fire, and you have to be wearing a t-shirt that says hydrate.